This is Casey Pacheco. Welcome back to Meet the Experts. And today we have a special guest. Guess what? She's not a nurse, but she is very much a healer. And I think you are going to absolutely enjoy her. Dr. Makeba. Dr. Makeba, welcome in. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. Now, I connected with you on LinkedIn and I
Yes.
was just absolutely fascinated by what you were creating. You know, I'm on a mission to heal healthcare globally, and I believe that healthcare is not just in the charts and the medicines and all the things we do in the hospital, but it really lies in the soul and the well being and the prosperity of the human being.
Yes. Agreed. 100%.
So I will take my holistic self and I will merge it with your holistic loving care, and we're going to find out all about you. I prepared some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Okay. So, as a healer, Dr. Makeba, a healer and a coach, that you come from a highly academic background, what have you noticed is a major block within academia that keeps highly educated people, especially women, feeling
Mhm.
feeling confident to follow and assert their soul aligned mission? What's holding them back?
I believe it's that academia teaches us to prove ourselves and not to trust ourselves, especially as women. But our soul mission doesn't need credentials, it just needs courage. Um, my background is in healthcare administration. That's where I came from, strategic planning, and in top organizations, top academic medical centers, top schools, and things. And I've always strived to do my best and prove myself. But I think that that's the one thing that it makes people extra like hypersensitive about performance and perfectionism, and
Mhm.
that can silence our intuition. We begin to doubt ourselves.
It's true. That's true. Thank you for
Hmm.
sharing.
You're welcome.
My next question, I noticed your brand is called Living for Love,
Hmm.
and my brand that's supporting this channel is called The Spark is Love.
Yes.
So we're both on this mission to heal humanity through the quality of love.
Hmm.
What would you say is the first step to activating one's soul?
So what I tell people all the time is that before you can activate your soul, you really need to be able to hear it, and you can't hear it over the noise. So stillness is the first step.
Okay.
um, you know, a high achieving women, busy people are constantly moving, 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 and constantly thinking, 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 thinking. And it's very hard for us to slow down our thoughts. When you sit in stillness, even if you meditate for 5 minutes a day, you're intentional about your presence. It really helps you return to center
Okay.
and turn back into your heart. And in your heart is where the truth lives.
Mm,
And that's why my brand is called Living for Love, because love, I believe, is the key. It's the universal antidote. That's the thing that's going to heal the world. And
yes.
it starts within. And so when you come home to that space of clarity, your calling is revealed naturally. It takes a little time, but as soon as that moment comes where your soul starts to speak and you begin to live in alignment, that's when people, I think, come back to the reality that love is the way.
Wow, that's so beautiful. Just being fully transparent. I grew up in very conservative religion, and they always say, don't listen to your heart, don't listen to your heart. It's a treachery. Only come to find out that the heart space is actually, that's where you can really be guided to what's
Mhm.
for you.
Right.
Interesting. Well, I wanted to ask you, so your our offerings are invitations for people who, they already feel like we're on LinkedIn and we're reaching out for people who want to do big things in the world. They want
Mhm.
to make huge impact and huge transformation. And we know, of course, transformation begins within ourselves.
Mhm.
So, just curious, what is one unusual piece of advice or recommendation that you would give to your clients that completely takes them by surprise?
Now, that's a good question because I don't know if it truly takes them by surprise or if it's that unique, but it is something that gets people to really pause.
Yeah.
And it's the idea that we need to stop trying to fix ourselves. Just stop trying to fix yourself because you're not broken, you're becoming. So all of these things that we are experiencing are in our lives, they're not horrible punishments. Like it's not so terrible. We're beating ourselves up constantly rather than remembering that this is who we are and why we're here. The things that we experience are part of the becoming to get us back to that remembering. So if we didn't have any of those experiences in our lives, then it would really be boring. Like if everybody's life was easy and rainbows and butterflies and we didn't have the ups and downs, then it's boring,
Mhm.
right? I believe that Earth is a playground. So that is one of the things that I share with people. Earth is a playground. Our spirit comes here to experience the polarity of the human experience,
Yeah.
joy and sadness, you know, um, fear and exhilaration, like all of these things, all of these emotions and things that we're taught
Mhm.
as young girls to, taper off those emotions. Just, you're too emotional,
Yes.
too much in your heart. So we begin to believe that we're punishing ourselves or that we are being punished for the choices that we make and that slows people down. So when I tell them that they're not broken, that maybe they're bruised but not broken, I think it is an adjustment for people to really think about that.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
I think this, I didn't know this is what you were going to say, but I think it's incredibly profound about the becoming. Because when you really think about it, if you shift your perspective to realize that somebody is not doing something to you and life is
Right.
after you, but
Right.
you're actually like a butterfly, you're stretching your muscles and you are actually growing more into becoming who you're supposed to be, and all the experiences, the good, the bad, and the indifferent along the way
Mm.
is actually molding and shaping you. You wouldn't be so critical and fussing and fretting with all the people and just living in this victim consciousness.
Yes.
And did some to you, you would let it go and be like, thank you. Now I
Yes.
experience that. I'm stronger. I'm wiser. I
Yes.
know more. And the reason why I'm really getting into this, Dr. Makeba, is because in healthcare we have a culture sometimes that really does hinder us.
Mm.
We think we're in competition, or we think somebody's after us, or somebody did something to us.
Mhm.
I'll be one to say I came out and I was like, oh my gosh, these hospital people, they done did this to me. And then I
Mhm.
realized, girl, no, nobody did anything to you. You have to go through that to find your voice, to
Exactly.
find your space, to find your right. And now you're there. They're not your enemy. Nobody.
Right. Right, right, and I believe, when you talked about that mindset shift, that shift is where freedom really lives. We're so tethered to what other people think or what they're doing to us or, all these things that are outside of us that, in all honesty, don't matter. They slow us down.
They do.
And, a little earlier, you were talking about church. And that's another area where, we're chastised and told if we do this, if we do that, we're being punished, and like, and it's just really hard to live life to the fullest when you're constantly walking on eggshells,
Mhm, mhm.
worried about what's going to happen to you because or who's going to do something to you.
Yeah,
It's very it's constricting.
yeah,
It's constricting, and it is just counterproductive to life and livelihood.
yes, yes. And I really think that when you're in the space of becoming, you get into a space, you talk about silence, but I really pull it as peace. You
Yes.
get peace within yourself because you're no longer externalizing everything that happened. You're
Mm.
not looking on the outside for validation. You're not looking on the outside. I mean, you appreciate the commendation, but
Right,
you
right,
don't need it because
right.
it's not so external. What's the good is not externalized, the bad is not externalized. And you get into this quiet place of I'm good. And it's really a spiritual place. I see you do
Hmm.
a lot of deep spiritual work. But
Yes.
this is spirituality, and a lot of times, spirituality is not just in the church. Some people that's their outlet, but
Hmm.
spirituality is the whole life cycle of your spirit and how you're showing up and
Yeah.
your aura. And when you get this becoming, oh, it's so sweet
Yes.
because you're at peace with everybody and life.
I agree. I feel like peace is the objective. Like we want to be at peace with what's going on, and it doesn't mean complacent, but it means that we are at in a space where just we're comfortable in our skin, we're comfortable in our situation. We know that we're being held, we know that we're being guided. We know that the things that come our way are for our growth and not to hinder us. So I think it just creates this sensation of what one of my clients. This is kind of funny to me. She called it suspicious peace because it was like so quiet and so calm and so easy that she was like, "This doesn't feel right." It just doesn't feel right
Yeah.
to not be worried about things and not be complaining and not have that heaviness or anxiety. It just feels different. So suspicious peace is the word
Yeah.
the phrase she coined.
Just feels, I love it. I love it. And you know what? Even people, we're here to talk religion bad, but even in the Bible, it talks about the peace beyond understanding, right? You
Right.
have this peace that comes to you and you can't even explain it. But I really think that that's not an accident. That's when you
Mm,
have a perspective, because then you
yeah.
see, people bickering and fighting, but then you realize, well, they're becoming too. That's
Yeah.
really part of their journey, and you don't always have to interact with somebody's journey or
Right.
rescue them. In healthcare,
Right.
we're always trying to rescue, but you don't
Hmm.
have to rescue all the time. You could just let them be in their journey and you be in yours.
Yes. And that doesn't mean that you don't care. But it means that you get it. Like you understand. It's in perspective.
Absolutely, absolutely. So my next question, I was thinking, if so many people are here and we're in LinkedIn. And in LinkedIn, everyone is going somewhere and you're moving and shaking some kind of system, right?
Yes.
For something to happen in this world. Just amazing people. But if you were standing in front of 100 healthcare executives, what is one powerful statement that you would make to spark their souls on fire?
Hmm. So I've been thinking about this quite a bit. And what comes to mind for me, especially with the state of the world right now, is that healing is leadership and that the system can only be as whole as the people who lead it. So it really requires a spiritual revolution, not just a scientific revolution, not just technology, not just, financial. It's spiritual. Because when leaders choose peace and presence and compassion as part of what they practice, they model wellness at a systemic level. And the real work of transformation begins when we stop separating healing from leadership. It's all part of it, they're one and the same.
Beautiful. You know, I don't know how much you interface with nursing, but I love the intention behind the profession.
Hmm.
Obviously, we've veered away from it a bit, but you know, Florence Nightingale, she had this element where a nurse could be a spiritual presence, a
Hmm.
physical presence, an emotional presence,
Mm.
just an all around presence. Not so much as to give you medicine, but to
Yeah,
be there. And I really believe that nurses, if we get back to the roots, we will be able to be catalysts. We will be able to be healers. But
yes.
before you could be a healer, you have to be healed. And there are
Mhm.
a lot of um, people who had to do it the hard way. You know, they had to roll up their sleeves and get to work and fight and fight and fight to be for where they are. And now they're there. They're not going to let go. They're just going to stay there.
Yeah,
And it's amazing you're talking about healing because it's as though the leaders have to go through this spiritual journey to bring the rest through.
yeah, yeah. The leadership sets the tone, and so if your leaders are not operating from a healed space, then that's a problem. In my previous job, my leader, my organization talked a lot about work-life balance. That was the buzzword. We want people to have work-life balance, and one of the biggest issues was that my direct leader didn't really model that.
Mm.
So although they said it was important, that's not what they were showing us. And so it was hard for me to embody that notion of work life balance when I know that my leader is checking his phone 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. He's staying up till 4 in the morning working on stuff. And, there's really no separation between the work and the life. So
Yes.
it felt like that was the expectation that he had of me,
Mhm.
even though they said work life balance was
Yes.
important. And so to me, that links back to the healing because had he experienced had he gone through a healing experience where he could truly see the value of balancing work and life, if he was modeling that for us, then it would have been a lot easier for us to do the same. And he didn't slow down until he ended up really hurting himself because he was tired.
Yes.
He was tired. And it wasn't just a mental burnout, he had experienced a physical burnout. And that's when he slowed down. And even with that, it still didn't feel 100% comfortable for me or for the other leaders that reported to him to slow down fully because his expectation, or at least we felt like his expectation, was that if he can't do it at that level, that we need to step in and do it. So that meant like stepping in and doing more, 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 more. So
Mhm.
it was just like a ripple effect from
Yeah.
him in terms of the work, work, work. And it could be a ripple effect as well if we saw balance.
Mm.
That balance would ripple down to the people who need it most.
That is powerful. You know, sometimes I think in healthcare, I think that it has not really been modeled where you have this balance. I haven't seen
Mhm.
it much where you
Right.
have this balanced leadership and get the results. And
Mhm.
and part of me is it's like you said, everyone they pace off of the leader. So
Mhm.
if you have this balanced leadership style, it also brings in a different dynamic for your team because now your team, they're working not under stress, but they're working under where their creativity and their innovation can flow and
Right.
produce at a different level. So it's like it's a transformation and a shift that's about to happen. And
Mhm.
all for it. But you know, Dr. Makeba, I want to talk about these retreats. You've been going on these retreats. Where have you been? Where have you been? We know.
So, Costa Rica We went to Costa Rica for New Year's this year. We went to Punta Cana for a
Okay.
retreat this year. Georgia, we do one locally for people, to have easier access. I
Yeah.
am heading to Morocco in a week, and I'm
Ooh,
bringing a group with me. I just went to India, Sri Lanka, and the Maldives for a 10-day scouting trip because I'm going to do a retreat in India next November, a
are you
soul traveler's journey. So I'm going to
this
bring some people next year. So November 7th to the 17th, I believe, are the dates for India. And we're going to visit several cities in India because I know for sure that travel is the soul's classroom. That's what I say, right? It strips away everything familiar so you remember who you are. And then it also expands you because we have such a limited understanding of the world and the people in the world based a lot on what we see on television or what we hear from other people. So we have to get out there, leave our environment, leave our roles, leave the routines, leave the resistance behind, and go on a retreat because they're sacred spaces. Now, you could go on a vacation, but that's a little bit different. These retreats are more intentional, and they're spaces where leaders can meet themselves in a different kind of way, in a facilitated space where nature is their teacher, silence is a mirror, and many, many breakthroughs happen away from home because
does.
your spirit finally has room to breathe.
Mhm.
And so we're going to Hawaii for New Year's this year and
Yeah.
back to Costa Rica in April. Now, and my retreats are designed, they're called Soul Bloom retreats, and each one has a slightly different theme. The one
Okay.
in the spring is Awaken. So it's going to be Awaken in the Jungle. The one in the summer is Revive and Thrive, and that one is more focused on the inner child and having fun. I call it Summer Camp for the Soul. Remember is the one in the fall, and that's the soul traveler's journey where we go and we visit multiple places along a path that your spirit is calling you to go to. And then Bloom is the one in the new year, and that one is for celebrating the previous year and then bringing in the new year with a different vision and connection. And the other underlying thing for my retreats, all of my retreats, is that I want people to walk away with a deeper connection to their spirit and a
Mhm.
way of communicating with their spirit so they understand and hear without a shadow of a doubt or get the information without a shadow of a doubt. So I focus quite a bit on connecting with your higher self through writing and through other ways.
This is beautiful. Do you have a specific amount of people that go, or is it open to anybody or your
They're pretty
client?
they're pretty open. They're
Okay.
open to anyone. I say if your spirit is telling you to come, reach out to me. Let's talk about it, and we'll work on where you fit in, like which one makes the most sense.
Mhm.
But they are open. I have a lot of repeat clients, like a lot of my people who attended the retreat in the new year this year in Costa Rica are coming with me to Morocco
Okay.
because it's like a stair step. It's the next step in their journey. I try to keep them intimate, but they're different. Each one is different. Like the one in April will probably have about 14 people,
Okay.
whereas the one in Morocco, it'll probably be about 6 of us.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so it
This
varies, but it's very open, and I often get, like, really last minute people. I don't like to talk about that, but there are people who are
the soul
hesitant.
is calling the soul. Come on now.
Yes, exactly. It's like the altar call, the final call at church. Like, I know you're out there. I know it's calling you.
Come
If you
on now.
if you feel it in your spirit, come on. I know it's one more person out there. So,
Love it. I love it. And you know what? I'm telling you, I went to Thailand with a
uh-huh.
group of massage therapists. It was absolutely phenomenal because they did their thing. They went for school, and I did
Uh-huh.
my thing. I had my soul go, and I went off and did qigong and
Ooh, nice.
and Reiki and all of this. And it was the most amazing trip. Just letting
Yeah.
my souls free.
Yeah.
I think more people should do it.
Mhm.
I really do think so. And I think you come back as a seasoned healer. I think you do Reiki as well. You do
I
Reiki.
do, I do. I'm a Reiki master teacher, and I incorporate energy work in my coaching with
Okay.
people. I have a 6-month coaching program that I do, and it includes energy work, spiritual hypnosis if needed, a few other modalities, but the main focus in that 6 months is to help people understand and connect with their higher self and to get clarity.
Yeah.
I realized myself that the thing that I searched for the most in my life was clarity. I just wanted
Mm,
clarity. What is my purpose? What is my passion? I want to know what's next. How can I be clear? And Reiki is actually what opened me up to that. I had the spiritual attunement. I didn't know what that was, but it was like a little tune
mhm,
up, right?
mhm.
And as soon as that happened, I started getting very, very clear messages about who I am, why I'm here, what I'm supposed to be doing. And I was like, wow, that's a lot. And there were things that I had never even thought about. 4 years ago, I never thought that I would be doing this type of work. I
Wow.
was a healthcare executive,
Yes.
doing planning and working
Mhm.
with the senior leadership, doing those kinds of things. But now I am a soul-led being that is, talking to her spirit guides and leading people on journeys to connect with themselves, and
So
it's amazing.
this
And
is
for yeah.
absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny where spirit leads us. And I think it's so funny because I always told myself, like, I'm like trying to plan retreats and I'm trying to, bring all these holistic foods and space,
Uh-huh. Uh,
everything. And on my last retreat which was this summer,
uh-huh.
I was there and everybody, they're jumping in the lake and just having a good time. It was amazing. I was a teacher and it was amazing. But
Mhm.
my spirit was saying, you need to be in healthcare leadership. I was
Yeah.
like, "Really? I'm not, I'm not scheduled. I'm just like such a free spirit.
Right.
I never felt like I'm that kind of corporate. I'm
Yeah.
just really heart-based, love you to death, come the
Yes.
flow. Never felt anything to leadership. But I was like, that's where my spirit's saying, go.
Yeah. And it's so important that people in healthcare are like you, that we have a mix of people who get it. Because I feel like one of the biggest flaws in our healthcare system is that it is so focused on medicine, like,
Mhm.
you know, fixing people who are sick. I remember one time, and this might be slightly off topic, but I remember one time being in a meeting and we were talking about the budget. And our chief financial officer was talking about, oh, well, the flu numbers are low, and so the flu numbers are low, so the budget is we're not meeting our budget targets. And I'm like, we are actually wishing for more flu hospitalizations so we can meet our financial targets. That is crazy.
I'm glad you say that because last week, which would be last week, but um, I interviewed a marketer, and she's in healthcare. She's a nurse, but she has a marketing company. And
Hmm.
this is exactly what I was telling her. I said that we have to get out doing marketing because some of the people, even the healthcare, they're marketing because they really want people, for them not to be good. Your
Yeah,
numbers are going to look good.
right.
From a really genuine place of bringing wholeness and life,
Yeah,
vibrant
yeah. The
vitality.
healthier people are, the lower the bottom line is going to be if you make money from surgeries and sickness,
Yes.
you
So
know?
they call it the sick care system. They
Right,
call it the sick care system.
right. So I really do believe that it's important to have people like us in the system to help keep people honest, you know?
But I honestly believe, I think that just with a little time, and we live in a society where the markets actually demand whatever there's a demand for, that's what
Right.
people are buying. But I've seen it with all the innovations where if you can figure out a model, or if the culture change where there's a model that allows people to be healthy and also make money, it's
Right.
flourish. And I do believe, I call me hopeless, but I do believe it's coming, because
Yes.
there was one time with information. I don't know if you remember, but information was like on the lock and key. People, they don't want to share. They don't want, they know how, and they're charging you a lot of money
Yes.
to know. But somebody figured out, if you
Mhm.
go and just tell people your information, the volume of people coming could
Right.
create income for you.
Right.
And
Right.
people are going on YouTube and teaching everything, things that people don't even want to know. They teach it.
Exactly. 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 Well, and I also think that there are so many people now that are concerned about wellness, like staying healthy, that
Mhm.
if the healthcare system is going to stay strong, that they're going to need to invest more in wellness as
Mhm.
well, not just sick care, but
Yeah,
actual health care. So
yeah.
maybe hiring Reiki practitioners, maybe encouraging mindfulness, maybe prescribing walks in nature, just that on the preventive side, offering a little bit more for people. And I could talk about this all day, but changing the business model too, because it's a lot of it is based on our capitalist notion. Like we have to make money,
Yeah,
and this is how we do it, and this is why. So the motivation is different. And
yeah.
I don't blame them, because I made good money in healthcare.
Mhm,
I
mhm,
did.
mhm.
But did was it was it good? Was it based on
So, Dr. Makeba, this is what I was saying. I really don't think, as somebody who, having paid for insurance and then paying for hospital bills from a pregnancy,
Yeah,
I don't think the problem is paying for healthcare. Everybody talks about paying for healthcare. I think where it comes in is what you're paying for and what you get doesn't equal the same. Okay,
right.
thank God I did not die. You saved my life. But
Thank
after
God.
that, you could stop the buck right there. And I think people are
Yeah,
asking for a little bit more. I really don't think so much is the cost of healthcare. But if you look at what we're paying for healthcare and the outcomes that we're getting, I
yeah,
think that's where you're getting, I don't mind
right.
people being paid well. I want to be paid well.
Yeah,
And I think if we could figure out a system, and this is what I am banking on, I'm like, listen, the- we're entering a spiritual period where there's going to be more and more millionaires and billionaires, and they're going to want the best of the best care for their family members. And I really feel like the more people who do well in society, and they change their mindset where they don't want everything for free, and they really
right.
want to pay and take care of themselves, I think that is a combined shift that will shift things where we could be paid well in healthcare, and we can also give excellent outcomes.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, it's possible. It's possible. It's just I think my struggle is, especially in traveling and seeing different parts of the world, is the struggle between the haves and the have-nots. Like,
Yes.
that is it's it doesn't sit well in my spirit sometimes, and so I as much as I love a fancy handbag and fancy shoes and a nice house and stuff, I think over the past few years, I've had to shift my perspective a little bit in terms of my values, because I feel like I know for certain that I was spending a lot of money on things that I didn't need, because I thought I needed them because society said
Mhm,
to be successful or to show your success, these are the kind of things that you do.
mhm,
So I feel like, for a lot of us, a shift in the mindset a little bit around the value of a dollar, the value of care, the value of all these things. We need to have more conversations about that.
I love it. And you know what? You say this, and my brain just went back to Brazil, because when I went to Brazil, I have never seen anything like it. Like, you could cut it with a line. You're in the States, you have the rich people sprinkle here, poor people
Yeah.
sprinkled there, but there was like such a clear delineation of
Mhm.
haves and the have-nots, and
Yes.
it doesn't mix. And I'm just going to share with you what came through to me. That's going to change, but
Mhm.
it doesn't change by demanding the haves to equalize for the have-nots. And what came to me was Bob Marley's song. He said, "Free yourself from mental slavery. Not
Yes.
ourselves can free our minds."
Yes.
I thought, wow, we're Black women, but slavery did more. It was more than just race, it was a mindset of
Mhm.
who you are, your
Mm.
identity. So when people's identities when they start saying, is this who I am, or is this who I was told that I could be?
Right.
When they start realizing that maybe I need to shift how I think of myself, I think
Yes.
a lot of that consciousness have to rise up.
Agree.
And
Agree.
so
Agree.
that was my Brazil.
I love that. For me, the divide that I saw was in South Africa, like the shanty towns versus where the other folks live. That was really it touched me. But I agree with you 100%. I think one of the things that in terms of the mindset shift is that we need to shift from this mindset of scarcity and realize that we are abundant. The earth
Yes,
is abundant. We have been provided with so many things and more. And
yes.
so it's about not being so selfish and so tight and so competitive. And so, just be open and free and allow the abundance to overflow for all of us because it is there.
It is. It is. It's so interesting. I don't know if you read much of Nelson Mandela's writing, but he was so fascinating to me because he would make them say Mr. Mandela in the jail, and he would, and so much as I'm getting older and my consciousness is elevating, I'm realizing, man. So much of what you take from people, how you think about yourself, how you
Yeah.
think about your situations. I grew up in the poorest part of Trinidad, and
Mm.
the shanty, that's one thing that's universal. No matter where you're going, the ghetto look the same, right?
Yes,
And the
yes.
shanty look the same everywhere. But then it's like, how do you feel about yourself? How do you take care of yourself and your environment? You ain't need no money for soap and water, right? You don't
Right.
need money for this. But this is a consciousness thing. And I believe when we walk into spaces with peaceful, loving hearts and minds, we raise the consciousness, we raise the vibe. I,
Agreed.
I was,
Agreed. 100%.
yeah, talk to you all day. I love this stuff because I think this is the holistic movement that is needed around the world. And
Mhm.
I believe in bringing people. So I have a global network and I believe in transforming healthcare, but
Mhm.
globally. Because
Mhm.
even in countries where they are doing things right, they don't have the greedy systems like, they say over here, but they still don't have the great healthcare outcomes that
Right.
we like. So
Mhm.
something's messed up with healthcare. And what I'm thinking is it has to be a spiritual problem because if the health of humanity, if health is what allows us to experience life, why is that the number one thing attacked universally, no matter
Mhm.
where you go? Why
Mhm.
is that not really built into? So there's something about humans being truly alive and the vibrancy of life, not just having money and things and,
Right.
vibrancy of life. Over here, you find a lot of apathy, a lot of cynicism. They're
Mhm.
not living. They're not living. They're going from day to day. So
Yes.
I love what you're doing. I love that you're bringing the leaders into space to really question life because those are the people who go with you, who are going to come back into the systems and
Mhm.
make change.
Yeah.
Okay, talk enough. Tell me, what you got to say for my audience? I done talk too much.
Oh my goodness. No, you haven't. This has been really cathartic. Like so I always whenever I agree to do a podcast like this, there's a spiritual connection. It always feels like a divine call to connect with like-minded people who get it. And
Mhm.
so I appreciate this so much. I truly do. I truly do. Now, so what I would say to your listeners is to start with the call and not clarity necessarily. Spirit meets you in motion. Like I said earlier, I was struggling trying to get clear, 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 doing all the self help books, trying to take all the courses, doing all of these things to try to get clarity, but just do it. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to say yes to what's stirring inside of you. So as you know, every healer that I know, it began in uncertainty. They didn't quite know, they didn't know. But the difference is they trusted the whisper long enough for the path to unfold for them. So I say take the next right step, read, learn, pray, move, say yes. And the how will reveal itself through your obedience to the nudge. You just have to trust,
Mhm.
trust, trust.
I love it. Trust. It's easy to say and it's really hard to do.
It is.
But I think, Dr. Makeba, if you have a hard time trusting yourself, it's hard to
Mhm.
trust anybody else.
Right. Absolutely. And so that's why it all starts with the self. Like you have to come back to center and shut out the noise around you. And I think energy work is helpful in doing that.
Mhm.
Because I think many of us forget that we are energetic beings as well, and a lot of things that happen in our lives get stuck in our energy field. And
Yeah.
so they affect our nervous system. So we're affected very deeply by things that happened to us in the past. So if we constantly heard people say, you don't know what you're talking about, or, who do you think you are?
Mhm.
You begin to doubt who you are,
You are.
and but you have no confidence, or you have people who tell you, you don't have a direct connection to God, for
Yeah.
example. You
Yeah.
have to go through these channels in order to get to God.
Yes.
Then you don't remember that you are also divine, like you have this power, this powerful connection. Tap in.
So true. So true, Dr. Makeba. And I wanted to say, I don't know if there are many men on your retreats. I think women, most times we are very soulful. We have that
Mhm.
feminine energy and feminine
Yeah.
essence where we will go first.
Mhm.
But men need healing just as much
They
as
do.
women. And I talk a lot about feminine energy on LinkedIn because I believe feminine energy is not just for the feminine, it's for both
Agreed.
feminine and masculine.
Agreed.
So, is there space on your retreats for men, or do you have some advice for the men who might be listening in?
So I hosted a beautiful men's retreat last year.
Oh,
It was called Manifest the Magic, and it was amazing. It was really amazing. It was a local retreat here, and the plan is to do that again this year in Georgia, um, in December. So if there are men out there listening who are really serious about connecting with their spirit, about balancing the masculine and feminine energy within them,
mhm.
this is the way to go. Like my coaching clients are 50% men, which is
Oh,
interesting. I think it's unusual as well. But men, I think, seek me out, and most of them recognize that they need to soften, or that, something needs to give, or they have a mother wound that needs to be healed.
mhm.
Um, so they recognize that they're operating from a toxic masculine perspective, and they're seeking help and healing. So I do know, I mean, there are men out there who get it, and that's who I'm speaking to. And so I have a hard time saying that I focus on women. A
Yes.
lot of people in this space are like, I want to help women do blah blah blah. For
Mhm.
me, I want to help the soul who knows that this is what's calling them, that they need balance, that they need to trust their spirit, that they're being led by something much greater than themselves. So, yes, there is definitely room for men. I do have a book recommendation for the men. that I encourage all of the men in my life to read, and it is by Bell Hooks, and it's called The Will to Change: Men, Masculinity, and Love. So it's a beautiful, beautiful book for men and women actually to read because it talks about women's roles in upholding the patriarchy because
Yeah.
we are taught, society teaches us that a man is supposed to do this, a man is supposed to present in this way. Men don't cry, men do all of these things that make men who are sensitive human beings as well become hardened.
Mm.
So I do think that there's room for the men.
That's
Now, Morocco and some of my other retreats are dedicated to women because I think that women need quiet spaces where they can just be in community with each other.
mhm.
But I do tend to have a masculine counterpart come with me to help balance the space. So even for Morocco, there will be a masculine um, leader, spiritual leader, who works on mindset and thinking, thought process. So we'll be focusing a lot on the heart mind connection.
That's beautiful. Well, I got two little ones, so I don't know about Morocco, but that India sounds really, really is. My soul is calling. So we
Yes.
have to get together. I know a few nurses in India that I would love to connect with. So
Ah,
if maybe we could do some kind of collaboration or something, but I would love to be part of one of your events. I held you up for all of your time, but I just love talking to you. I love
yes.
having you here. Thank you for sharing your expertise, your wisdom, and your soul-based love led business with us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I've really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you. Well, viewers, you see, I asked Dr. Makeba all of my questions and some. I then kept her for like 45 minutes. So now it's your turn. Type in the comments if you have any questions for her. We're sure that she gets it. If you have anything that you want to express to her or you want to connect with her, I met her on LinkedIn and she's there for you to connect with as well. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Dr. Makeba. And we will see you next time on Meet the Experts. If you're not subscribed, YouTube, The Spark is Love. Subscribe. Give us some love. We'll see you next time.